I'm constantly working on things to improve my yard to make it look better without using a bunch of fertilizer. I want to get started with something that just popped up in my yard again, and that's worms, worm castings. So this is my dew whip. It's a greenskeeper, maintenance guy's dew whip. It's something that they use to knock the dew off of greens, but this is also something that's really good to use for getting rid of worm castings. Look at that. Okay, this is on my putting green. So you can see how short all the grass is around it, and this thing sticks out like a mountain. So I come across with my dew whip and knock those things down and get rid of them. This dew whip works great on short-cut grass. If you have tall grass, you're not going to see these worm castings, but you're going to feel them, and you're going to feel them when you're pushing your lawnmower, because your lawnmower is going to bounce around. I don't know if you've ever been pushing your lawnmower along and you've ever wondered why it's bouncing around so much. It happened to me. I leveled my lawn, I redid it, I had it nice and smooth, and within a month after the grass had grown, my lawnmower is bouncing around all over the grass. And I just was like, I just leveled this thing. This thing should be smooth. And then I realized I had a bunch of worm castings, and the worm castings were just, creating lumps in my yard. And it was really driving me nuts. So I started learning about worms.
Worms, earthworms, they're hermaphrodites. It takes two of them to produce. And it takes about 2 to 3 months for a worm from basically erupting from the cocoon as a baby worm and growing into an adult that can actually reproduce. So this takes 2 to 3 months. And this is why you got to keep on top of it. If you're going after to eradicate them, you have to stay on them. You can't just do one application and think you're done. It's not going to work like that. And I'm going to get into why. So it takes 2 of these worms to produce. And I'm going to show a couple of pictures on here that, describes a little bit about their sex organs and things like that. I mean, basically they have a ring around their body. When you see a worm that has this ring around its body that looks like a little swollen part, like it got hurt or something, no, that's has nothing to do with that. That means they're a worm that can reproduce. They have the organs to mate with another worm. Them being hermaphrodites means it just takes 2 of them, doesn't matter what 2. One's going to produce an egg that gets fertilized. And it's not really an egg, it's a cocoon. So the cocoon is basically lemon-shaped, fairly small. And the one thing about the cocoons is they don't have to hatch right away. They can sit down on your lawn for years. And, just like we talked about with the Poa annua seeds, same thing with worms. They can be in your soil for a long period of time before they hatch. They do like certain conditions to hatch, definitely cooler and moist environment. They don't really like the dry and the heat and all that. In the cocoons, it's going to take them about 11 weeks to hatch. And like I said, the cocoons can survive for a long time. Earthworms can double their population in 60 to 90 days, which means if you have a lot of worms, you're going to get a lot of population in a very short period of time.
My putting green right here, it's not even mowed here. This was before I mowed. So this is my backyard, and these are worm castings right here. This is where I really noticed the problem. I went out there, 2 weeks ago, and it was just like overnight. I just had worm castings everywhere. I haven't had a worm casting in my backyard for months. When I redid my yard, I spent a lot of time with tea seed meal, that's TEA, like tea you drink, and seed meal. And it's just a byproduct of the process of, I believe, crushing the oils out of the tea seeds, whatever. I believe it's saponin is the byproduct. And this is what it does to worms. This is 5 minutes after I watered. You could see all the brown clumps down here of tea seed meal right here. And these worms, it irritates them. It drives them crazy. They want to just crawl out of their skin. So as soon as I water, after applying this, they come out of the ground and they die. Now, this doesn't kill all the worms, but it gets rid of a good number of them. The worms are back. I have some in my front yard. I don't have a bunch, but I have a few that are coming back. So I got a bag of tea seed meal, and I'm just going to be actively going after worms in my front yard, because on my putting green, they're no good. It hinders mowing. It leaves streaks and all that kind of stuff. They're all over the place in the backyard. The front yard, like I said, I only have a few, so I'm going after them. And the tea seed meal, literally, if you apply it heavy enough, and I use a number 8 setting, I applied 25 pounds to my front and backyard. Between the two of them, that's 3,500 square feet. I don't know how much that works out to and all that kind of stuff. I don't even figure it out. I have a setting I use on my spreader that works. And when I have them bad, that's the setting I use. And then I'll back off of it as I just try to keep maintaining it. But if you have a shortcut lawn and you have worm castings and they're a problem, tea seed meal is what's going to fix it. Spread the tea seed meal down nice and heavy. Water it in pretty good. I mean, my sprinklers run for 10 minutes a cycle. I just ran them a normal cycle. And before it finished the second cycle after the one it had just watered, this is what happened. These worms popped out. And this one here is totally able, see this right here, this ring? That means that they're able to have offspring, lay eggs, whatever it is. There's a little ring around them. This one's not quite there yet. These are dead ones. This is the next morning. And what happens is, there's about 7 in this picture right here. You can't probably see all of them because I ran through it pretty quick. I just wanted to show you the after. But I had so many worms in my backyard when I got up the next morning and I went out and looked, that I was like, this is a lot of worms. I hope the birds take care of this. And don't worry, it's not harmful to the birds. This makes a feeding fest for the birds though. And when I came home from work after applying this stuff and all those dead worms that I had in my backyard, they were all gone. There wasn't one worm back there. And the birds had come through. It's mostly robins and things like that, but there's probably blue jays and all that kind of stuff that came through. They cleaned up the whole mess, all gone. I didn't even see the front yard because I didn't get a chance to look at my front yard before I left for work. I don't know how many worms were out there or anything like that. So, but anyways, this will not hurt the birds. It kills the birds. It's a total non-chemical, non-harmful to humans, dogs, people, anything, pets. Tea seed meal is the way to go if you want to take care of the worms.